So Esav's neshama comes from the world of tohu, which we explained before is an extreme light, extreme passion, where the tohu is where the or doesn't fit in the kalim. Therefore, there's too much rotzon, there's too much desire, there's not enough vessels to do it in. For example, you might have an athlete whose desire to compete keeps him going, but his body just fails on him because his body being the keli, he can't keep up with his rotzen. The ore destroys itself because it won't fit in the kli. Any kli which you put it into will just destroy it because there's too much power in it. It's too much in it. So again, you'll have it with ideas where Zionism, people are ready to die for Zionism, and it's extremely difficult conditions when they came into Israel. But you go a couple of generations on, now their children, the big dream is to go to America and sell falafel in Los Angeles. What happens is that when the ore fits into the kalim, because once you have a state of Israel, so now you need kalim, you need a government, you need a foreign emissary to all these different countries, you need to have a social system, everything needs structure in order for it to fit. And once you have the previous generation that had the ore, then trying to put that ore into kalim doesn't really work. If you have somebody, usually the success in the Western world will come through a structured environment. If you're good at structure, then you can make it. You go to school, you go to university, you get good grades. An exam, a test if you have to fit within the structure of the system, and you get a good grade. Then classic jobs, a lawyer and banker, to make lots of money, you have to fit in. You gotta turn up. You gotta be on their time. You gotta be in the office at 5 o'clock in the morning, etc. If that all fits, then you can be a success. If it doesn't fit for you, where you don't follow that structure, you don't fit into the structure. I'm not coming till 9. I can't turn up at 9:30. Don't tell me what to do. So the ore cannot fit into the kalim, and therefore in society today we'll say that it's a failure. Now, Esav comes from the world of tohu, whereas Yaakov comes from the world of tikkun. Yaakov and Yitzchak coming from the world of tikkun. Tikkun is where there's room for everything, where the ore goes into the kalim, as tohu was the original creation, again in concept, not in time, and then the shviras kalim, the breaking of the kalim, which we have discussed before, sent on top of that breakage, this world, which is Olam HaTikkun, is created. So the point of this world is that the ore is very low and the kalim are very big. Therefore, there's very little that I am passionate about. There's very little that I care so much about. I will make peace with everything, and that nothing's really worth fighting about. And let's you say that, and that's interesting. So you'll have, for example, the extremes, said before, like the Republicans and the Democrats, but then the tikkun, so the tohu will just be everyone has to die if they don't agree with me, and the tikkun will be you're making an interesting point. There's definitely place for that in the world. In certain circumstances, that's a fantastic idea. And you speak to the other point, and you say, yes, that's a fantastic idea as well. There's definitely room in the world for that, and that should be applied in certain circumstances. So in Tikkun, the vessel is so big that there's room for everything. Now, as you looked before about Klipa has a or makif. The or makif is the generator, is the power, is the koyach that supplies the energy, but it can't be internalized, because if it's internalized, it'll either just be swallowed up, or it'll have to become from the kedusha. They'll have to basically become a religious Jew, accept the kedusha into their life, but they don't want to do that because that would mean not going to golf on Saturdays or not eating in that restaurant. So the desire not to. So there's a huge. You have to deny the power of that or makif, but it's extremely dominant in the person. So Esav has this tremendous or it's a tremendous light, this like extreme light that's coming from Tohu and the Or Makiv, which Yitzchak and Yaakov don't have. So Yitzchak is getting, when even though Esav is a complete Rasha in his panimi, in what that he is makabel, or what he is on a conscious level, that he completely rejects God, since he has his powers all coming from Kedusha, an extreme source of Kedusha, he still needs that Kedusha, but he can't, he's not ready to translate that into, again, a panimis, into the Kalim, to put it into the Kalim and have it in an ordered manner. So a classic example, I think it's a story they say about Rav Steinsalz. He met this guy on the way to Shul, and he says, "Oh, Rabbi, you're off to Shul." So he says, "Yeah, what are you doing?" He says, "Oh, tonight I am going to eat pig, this little place in Jerusalem that sells pig." "Oh, very nice. How are you doing for Shabbos lunch?" "Oh, there's a place that sells lobster." "Oh, that's very nice. And what are you doing for Sudas shit?" "Oh, I'm going to have some yain nesach." They have a place with mamash yain nesach. So the Rebbe says, "Oh, I'm jealous of you." He says, "Oh, of course you're jealous of me. I'm going to party, you're going to show." He says, "No, that's not why I'm jealous of you. It's that you have this tremendous passion for Shabbos, but you just don't know how to relate to it. You're relating to it in the wrong. You can't internalize it, but your passion is much stronger than mine. I'm going to shul. I went to shul last week. That's like it's already wrote for me." So whatever happened, the story, the guy became Baal Tshuva, it doesn't really matter. But here you have, it's like, once you've already makabel the light into the kalim, so now it becomes a certain type of rote, a certain type of I'm doing this. I always do this. I keep for sure. I keep Shabbos, but the light compared to the kli really is quite low. Whereas in the world of Makif, in the world of Tohu, this light is tremendous, but you can't bring it into the kli. So if the guy cared about, he didn't care about Shabbos, so he'd trade whenever he wants. What's he doing? Davka, doing Sudash shit in a specific way, just to stick it to God Kaviyachol, because he has this tremendous connection to Shabbos. It's just he can't internalize it in a suitable manner. So the light stays outside the Kalim, because the Kalim for Shabbos is, not doing malachas. So Yitzchak, Esav has this tremendous makiv, which he is subconsciously or superconsciously in touch of, but he can't internalize it. So he asks his father, Rashi says, yes, his father, Ech Meiser Nesa Tevin, how do we Meiser Tevin? I think last year we discussed that Rashi. Here, that question, why is he bothering to discuss holy things? Because it defines him in a much more meaningful way than other things. So he is bringing this Or Makiv comes to the surface, and he is speaking to Yitzchak, and Yitzchak is just loving it, because when the fromkeit of Esav, when that comes out, that's coming from a much brighter place than he can access, because again the light from Tohu is much brighter, so he's getting something that he can't access himself because of coming from the world of Tikkun, and Yaakov coming from the world of Tikkun. Therefore, to access this tremendous light, he can't do without Esav. So whenever Esav starts coming up with these things, that's will be empowered by the Or Makiv, which is a tremendous light. So Yitzchak's just loving it. So it's Tzayid Bepiv. Or first it says that Esav Yodei Tzayid, and then Rashi says he asks him Eich Machzor Tevel, and then the pasuk then says, and Yitzchak loved Esav Tzayid Bepiv, because this is where Yitzchak is able to tap into this greater light. So the basic avoda of Tikkun is to expand the Kalim. So again, in the world of Tohu, the light was too great in order to fit into the Kalim. The avoda of Tikkun is to expand the Kli so that you're able to take this greater light and not break the Kalim. And the avoda of Tohu is to let yourself be mevatel into the Kli. So when the guy says Shir is at 9:30, the bittul would be, okay, I'm going to go, not don't try to define me. So in the Parshas Vayishlach, Yaakov basically tells Esav that I have fixed myself, and I've spent my time with Lavan, and through that I have perfected my kelim from Tikkun, and now you, the past 20 years, have you been perfecting yourself, and then we can basically meet up, put your light into my kelim, I can feed off your light, you can feed off my structure, and Mashiach will come on the spot. But Esav basically says, I amn't ready for that yet, I'm having too much fun. So in the midst of this, Yitzchak wants to give the brachas to Esav in order to remove the klippa from Esav, and that he'll act in a manner to bring the kedusha into Esav, and that to enable Esav to bring the or makiv into the panimi, and this through bringing these tremendous brachas lifnei Hashem means above Hashem, even greater than Yud Kei Vav Kei, that from that level, because Esav's light is so great. If you bring an even greater light, you'll be able to tame him. But Rivka held, and L'chayris is the emes, that there's only two options. If you do that, one is that Esav will just swallow up that light, no matter how great it is. He'll just swallow it up, and it won't work. Or it won't be him doing the bittul. It will just be, the light will be so great he'll become a robot, and he'll just skip the step of choice and just become a tzaddik, which doesn't help either, because since the point is the avoda. So that's why Yitzchak wanted to give the brachas to Esav, and what Yaakov was doing, I guess we'll have to wait for another time.